Did you know that the developing brain is affected by children's experiences and interactions with the important people in their lives? Or that our early brain development, in turn, helps to shape how we feel about ourselves, how we interact with the world around us, and how we form meaningful relationships with others? It's true. Social emotional development and brain development are linked, with one influencing the other. This relationship between social, emotional, and brain development underscores the critical role that parents and providers play in the long-term health and well-being of the children in their care. We will now take a look at some specific components of social emotional development and how each of these elements interacts with, influences, and is influenced by brain development. While science suggests that most of our brain cells, called neurons, are present at birth, the connections between these neurons are still developing and multiplying at a rapid-fire pace, more than 1 million neural connections per second in the first 3 years. While many of these connections are genetically determined, they are also influenced by early experiences. These experiences may be provided by parents, caregivers, providers, friends, community members, and others who play an important role in the life of a child. In other words, brain connections are experience dependent. That is, the connections happen only if the child receives the environmental stimuli needed to build them. Picture sweet baby Tanika, who's being lovingly held and read to by her daddy. During this experience, her brain forms connections relevant to and activated by this positive interaction, as Tanika's daddy continues to create loving, nurturing, and enriching experiences for her. Associated brain connections grow stronger. The experience is building brain circuitry that lays the groundwork for healthy social, emotional, cognitive, and language development. Over time, Tanika's love of language and the well-being associated with her daddy become wired together, part of the architecture of her developing brain. The story of baby Tanika illustrates the lasting imprint that early connections have on the developing brain. Positive experiences lead to strong neural networks across multiple regions of the brain, including the prefrontal cortex, limbic system, amygdala, hypothalamus, and the brainstem. Negative experiences lead to brains that are wired to expect danger, which can lead to children having challenges in many areas of functioning, including social emotional development. Children whose brains are wired to expect danger tend to be more reactive and have a harder time controlling their impulses, which makes developing healthy relationships more challenging. They also come to expect that relationships are harmful, and so are more guarded and less available to get close to others. The brain's ability to organize and reorganize itself based on an individual's experience is called neuroplasticity. Although plasticity continues over the course of a lifetime, the brain is most adaptable and shaped by experiences in the early years. This means that early childhood is a period of both opportunity, if the child's experiences and interactions are positive, and vulnerability, if the child's experiences and interactions are negative. It is important to note that if a child's brain does not get off to the healthiest start, it does not mean that all is lost. However, the longer children have been exposed to negative experiences, the harder it is and the longer it takes for brain circuitry to become reorganized when is exposed to new experiences. The implications for us as care providers are clear then, that the relationships we build with the children in our care play a critical role in how their brains develop, affecting children in the long term. What we do and how we are with the children in our care matters a lot. Another important phenomenon is what has come to be known as use it or lose it. In the early years, the brain is genetically programmed to produce more connections than it can use. This large number of neural connections helps to prepare young children for a wide range of experiences, environments, and interests. Over time, through a process called pruning, those neural connections that are not used will weaken and eventually disappear. This elimination of underused connections is helpful to keeping the brain efficient in carrying out its daily functions. Ideally, those neural connections and networks that have survived the pruning process are those that promote healthy social emotional development now and across the lifespan. Again, you see the connection between how we interact with the children in our care and their developing brains. We have the power to build and reinforce the kinds of connections that will help children be successful now and as they grow into adulthood.